ladies and gents, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Fairly Decent Podcast, episode 9. I am your host, Nigel Jones, joined by some of my nearest and dearest. To my right, Mr. Abhishek Ballari.
What's up?
To my left, Mr. Setmet.
What's up?
Bottom left, we have Mr. Taj Crutch.
You already know what it is. Your boy Taj Crush, aka that guy, aka that. I keep going. Never mind. Go ahead.
And last but not least, our resident caveman, Mr. T Love.
Man, what's poppin'?
His picture spoke. All right. So, what's going on, fellas? What's going on, fellas? How's everybody been?
Bulling.
Good, man. Doing good. Just hanging in there.
You survived the trip to Texas?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier. My lease ended there, so I had to go there real quick and move my stuff out.
Move a couple millions around. I feel you.
Yeah, you know.
offshore accounts. We know.
How was that flight situation? Did you fly?
EPJ.
Yeah,
EPJ.
I flew. I flew to Texas back. It's actually nice because every other seat is empty now, so you're social distancing on the plane.
Yeah.
So it's actually a bit nicer.
Never been on a PJ.
You only had about five or six seats.
Yeah. That's why every seat was empty. Whatever. So it's like, what did they give you on the PJ? What did you eat?
Stop, Ty. Stop.
I heard they served wings.
Yeah, filet.
Oh man.
All right, but that was up. So, you know what I'm saying? The running theme, I guess, of the last couple of podcasts have been current events, as I guess every podcast has been, but more so dealing with, the current political climate where not has been protesting the open racism in America and just everything going on right now in general. So I wanted to start off today's podcast, kind of open the floor and discuss our thoughts on the current, I guess you could say the current situation America is in as far as all the open protests, and how you guys think let me rephrase this. All right, so with all the protesting that's going on, and we see all the rapid change that's coming about from it, whether or not it be from NASCAR removing all symbolism of Confederate flags in NASCAR races, to the United States military. I know the Marine Corps and the Navy has removed or announced that they're removing any type of symbolism of Confederate flags, to places like recently Starbucks has been saying that they're not going to allow employees to wear apparel that support Black Lives Matter. And then places like Charlotte and Washington or DC that has painted the streets with Black Lives Matter text on the ground in Washington leading up to the state capitol. Do you think, how you guys think as far as all the protests that have been going on, all the rapid change that's come from it, how do you feel more so about the change that protesters have brought?
I'm also noticing. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Taj, real quick. You said Starbucks was not allowing people to wear, or their employees to wear, any apparel that had Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, so that was a news story that came out today that Starbucks basically has
canceled.
Yeah, they're not allowing employee. When I first read it, I read it wrong, and I thought it said they wouldn't allow customers. I was like, oh, they don't shot themselves in the foot for real. But I mean, they may have just equally shot themselves in the foot by coming out and saying that they were not letting their employees do it. But
yeah, do you know what their stance is?
I mean, they may be Trump supporters. I don't know.
Why even take a stance? Why even say that?
Didn't Starbucks just have an issue not too long ago? Didn't they have an issue not too long ago where they had to kind of get back in good stance?
Yeah, I can't remember what happened. I think somebody was just sitting in there and they called.
Yeah,
you're
talking I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
they tripping.
Yeah,
I saw that they announced that they're closing 400 of the North American stores. So I think 200 in Canada, and I'm assuming 200 in United States as well, and maybe some in Mexico. So,
Man,
and I swear, like this is due to COVID. This is COVID related.
Yeah.
But that's interesting to hear because you don't see like Starbucks is one of those national chains where like they restaurants don't close. Like I've never seen a Chick-fil-A close. I've never seen a Starbucks close.
Right.
That's kind of the two.
And Chick-fil-A on the edge too right now.
And really, maybe you don't really see McDonald's close often either. Maybe a couple, but yeah.
And then
it's just like well-established brands too. And like I'm really surprised because like all these tech giants, especially from like the West, and I consider like Starbucks like among those types of companies too. Like all the other ones, Apple, Google, like they're like pledging money. They've been doing it. Like they've been very they're advocates essentially, but I'm like surprised that Starbucks did not follow suit.
Right. And then like a lot of companies, me and Seth talked about it earlier, a lot of companies just throughout the nation have started to adapt more, I guess, the African-American culture, like the announcing of celebrating Juneteenth as a company holiday for a lot of companies. I know Nike announced it. Square announced it. Somebody else announced it.
What is Juneteenth for the ones that don't know?
I'm gonna let Seth look like he's eager to speak on this. So go ahead.
No, great question. So Juneteenth is the celebration of when backstory. So there was emancipation. So Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Yeah. But it wasn't until some years later, I guess the Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves. That's when they were denounced free. So Juneteenth is a celebration. I think Texas was the last state to get word of it or to facilitate that word to the slaves. Yeah. So Juneteenth celebrates the independence of, I guess, the last group of slaves that were enslaved in America.
Gotcha. Okay.
June 19th, Juneteenth, is the formal celebration of that.
So
gotcha. A lot of companies have started to, obviously with the pressure that's going on in society, a lot of companies are being pushed to celebrate that as a holiday. And,
oh wow, okay, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And although
Nike said they paying their employees paid holiday.
Yeah, it's paid holiday.
Yeah, paid holiday. Yeah, and although like I said, a lot it's hard to not celebrate the 4th of July because it is a federal holiday and it's nationally recognized. A lot of, I know, black communities, the black households, they celebrate Juneteenth as a more so of a freedom holiday.
And like, so this is one of those situations where I don't feel like there should be a confliction. Like, we can do both. I'm all
both, yeah.
Like, July 4th represents America's Independence Day, and then Juneteenth can be representing when slaves were free.
Yeah.
Like that's the Black Independence Day, if you will. Like I don't see why those. And I'm not saying you said this, but I can see some All Lives Matter person saying this.
Right.
I don't know why we can't celebrate both because we celebrate Cinco de Mayo just like it's our holiday, and it ain't. At least not our American holiday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There are some who in America they celebrate.
Will that be comparison to Christmas and Kwanzaa, or no?
In regards to, so you're saying
celebrating?
It's celebrating a similar event, but on 2 different days.
Yeah.
Well, so those are religious based.
Yeah.
These are not.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the
so it won't be different. Okay.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I understand the sense of what you're saying, but yeah, those two are religious based, and that's kind of where.
Gotcha.
Also, follow-up question. So, how do you guys or how do people celebrate Juneteenth?
Mm-hmm. So recently in Charlotte, they've had like culture. Anytime something Black gets together, it's like cultural. So like cultural parties. So like they'll close off a street. There'll be vendors. Different organizations will have programs like educational programs, stuff like that.
Sweet. Okay.
So just kind of like a party, but different. Cool. No fire.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the follow up on what Sid said, and like I said, just speaking general, not speaking for everybody, but a lot of celebrations in the Black community is more so celebrated with, just like I said, just having to get together and throwing a party, like just enjoying the time together, basically.
Mm-hmm. Got the spade table out.
Yeah, all that. So basically, I guess you say really the way you would celebrate any holiday, barbecue, something along the lines of that. But yeah. So like I said, I just want to kind of like just discuss and like I said, just go over like a couple of bullet points about all the stuff that has kind of rapidly come about in this month or so of protesting. That I mean, in all honesty, it's been kind of surprising because in my lifetime at least, I haven't really seen protesting to this magnitude, and nor have I seen protesting of this magnitude result in immediate change nationally.
So if I could ask a question back to the group again that we discussed, I think last week. So do you all think protesting works?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes.
I mean, when you see
all the statues,
right, all the stuff like that, all the open racism that goes on social media and outlets like that on a daily basis, but now there seems to be a consequence and some repercussion that happens behind them. That you can't just openly go out and do something stupid and apparently not see any type of consequence behind it in today's landscape, in the sensitive times that we're in. And then from like something that I never probably thought would have happened is that them painting Black Lives Matters on the road leading up to the White House. That was surprising.
Yeah.
I was surprised about that too, and they allowed that to happen, especially with whoever's in the office right now.
Right. And I wonder how much power, quote unquote, he has behind that occurring, because apparently none.
I think that might be city-owned property,
right?
Or because the mayor, she's a Black woman.
Yeah,
she sanctioned it. Yeah. Yep.
That's.
And I was surprised. Oh, yeah, they did do it in Atlanta.
Did y'all see the press conference the police officers had?
Yeah.
They finally feeling how
like it was in New York, right?
Yeah, so and I'm paraphrasing this, so it may not be exactly right, but the New York police manager, I think it said, or police chief, one of the two, they held a press conference and they basically were emotional and whatever, talking about they don't like how the police currently in today's national landscape is being vilified and promoted as criminals and villains.
Thugs.
Yeah, thugs and criminals. And a caption I saw under it said, well, if you wouldn't act like thugs and criminals, you wouldn't be in this situation. But, I mean,
exactly.
It is what it is.
It's funny because he was begging to be treated, like it was the same speech exactly that Black people like, stop treating us like thugs, stop vilifying us. Like, it sounds like what we've been saying the whole time. How about that?
So
that's pretty much after you and have a nice day.
Right. So I was telling Seth and Taryn the other day when we were playing the game. So I watch Twitch.
What game?
Come on, man.
Chill out, man.
I spent all my free time studying, learning about different IT.
Oh yeah, my bad. The other day when we were in the library reading, social distancing, of course.
Najee, stall them out.
Social distancing, of course. I was watching this streamer named Dr. Lupo. He's a middle-aged white male, and he painted an analogy that I thought was really clever and kind of fit the current landscape. But he was basically saying, so if you're not familiar with Twitch and the platform, it's basically just a platform where people like play games, and a lot of people, it's kind of like YouTube. A lot of people, they live stream, and a lot of people will just sit there and converse in the chat while they watch the person stream, and the person who streamed will actually talk to the chat. And somebody in the chat had something really insensitive to say about George Floyd, and he followed up by saying something dealing with all lives matter and all that stuff. So he basically stopped the stream and educated, and he banned the person, and then he educated everybody in the stream about why it was insensitive and why it was unnecessary and disrespectful. But one of the things he said, and that I thought kind of hit home, was he was saying the needless purpose of people who don't support the Black Lives Matter movement and their stance of saying the words "all lives matter." He said there's no need. He said that's the reason why that's disrespectful, and the reason why that comes across as insensitive is because you got to understand what Black Lives Matter basically means. They say it's almost like there's an invisible two at the end, as if you're saying Black Lives Matter too. You're not saying that Black lives only matter. You're not saying that only Black lives matter and nobody else matters. You're just saying you want to be treated, you want Black people of color to be treated as equals in the world or in the nation where they have always been treated as less of a man. And then the analogy that he painted was, imagine if there was, because like the people who say all lives matter, they come and say it as if Black lives don't matter, and they're trying to overshadow that voice by saying all lives matter. And he said the analogy he painted was, imagine if there was 5 houses. For all 5 houses have something wrong with them. One of them has bad plumbing. One of them probably had ants or something, so on and so forth. But the 5th house is on fire. It's literally burning to the ground. And if you're an individual in this community, you're like, all right, the 5th house is clearly on fire. We need to put the fire out before the house burns to the ground. But you're somebody in house 1 through 4, and you're coming saying, well, my house has problems too. He's like, I don't give a damn about your house. House 5 is literally about to burn to the ground. We need to take care of this first before we start trying to worry about the other ones. But yet you're somebody in house 1 through 4, and you're trying to voice your opinion saying that your house has problems too. And that's basically the analogy he painted. I'm like, that was like a really clever analogy, because that's basically what it is. We're saying like Black lives matter too. So not saying that other lives don't matter, but there are literally innocent and just everyday individuals being killed and being arrested and being treated unfairly just because of the color of their skin. And that's something that needs to be addressed now more than later.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in some rooms in the last week. I've been in a lot of rooms where I'm the only Black, amongst whites.
That, wow.
Oh, shit. I'm the only white. Jesus. I've been on so it's been a few rooms where like I'm the only at work. So now it's cool to talk about race at work. It's cool. Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, don't talk about race at work. Not openly, not with your managers, not, sit down and let's just talk.
Right.
Now, open discussions. I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you about race. So I'm perfectly fine with talking. I'm perfectly fine with talking up and down the food chain as far as seniority or level of accomplishments in the company. So I have no problem with having those conversations. So I've been in the room where I'm the only Black and a bunch of whites at work, and then I've also been in that scenario outside of work in like another organization that I'm working with, and then also with another group where we're one of the few Blacks. So me and my wife, we were in this conversation recently with one of the few Blacks and more whites than Blacks. And every time it's like the white people in this, if you're in this room, you're in this room for a reason. You're in this room because you care. So I'm not necessarily mad at them. I don't think they are the ones, that are portraying these racist systems and things of that nature. And at the end of the day, they're just one person amongst, millions in America. But I had to tell them, like, bro, Black people are tired. Like I'm tired. Like I'm wore out. Like from the protests, from like seeing my brothers die in the street, seeing my sisters die in die at police hands for random reasons. But also I'm tired because y'all just now getting it. Like it took all of this. It took a freaking pandemic, the entire world shutting down, you all to just be focused on nothing else but being at home and watching videos and stuff for you all to see. And it took a nigga having his neck sat on for 9 minutes with 4 of the officers, and somebody happened to record. God, thank whoever recorded those videos. Mm-hmm. For you all to get to the point where you're like, oh, yeah, that was wrong. And Black people have been calling racism for years and years. And I don't know if you weren't willing to see or if you just couldn't see, but it's so frustrating and tiring that just now you see it and it's like, now you want to go fix shit. like, you know what I'm saying? Now you want to get in there, you want to fix. And I don't know if you all had these same conversations with white friends, and I've had. Like I had to go to one of my white friends. I'm like, bro, why haven't you called me? Like I had to like literally say, like, bro, why haven't you called me? And he gave it legitimate excuse, like, bro, I felt like I should have, and I wanted to, but I really didn't know what to say. And one of the groups that I just talked about, one of the things that they said like last night is, it's okay to say, I don't know what to say, but I just felt like I needed to call you. Because you may, a lot of times, generally speaking, you may not have a lot of black friends. You may be that social white person networker or whatever who does have a lot of black friends. But I would say this. My challenge to you is to check on your black friends. Because this is a time where we are dealing with a lot. Like, we're going through the same things that you're going through: pandemic, job insecurity, unemployment, all of those things. But also, like the tide is shifting like under our feet as to our acceptance level, and that's just a lot to take in at one time.
And keep in mind, that's not a just recent thing. That's a life thing for us. Like, that's from the day we were born.
Right, exactly. And I also want to come back to a challenge that I'll tell you all to say, and also that I'm bringing to white people later on in the podcast. So just remind me to bring that up, but I'll take a note over here. But so I'll let you all chime in on that.
But no, I agree with you saying, Seth, but sometimes I feel like when I see different things and going on, I see that some white people are coming together and trying to stand for Black Lives Matters, and also try to voice their opinion, or at least, say like, hey, this is wrong. But at the same time, I kind of, in my bones, I feel like they still really don't get it. Like, I feel like they feel like it's a movement right now, and they need to be a part of it because they don't want to be backlashed or anything like that. But I feel like they still don't understand. Like I don't know. I seen on the news the other day. I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but they had like African stoles on, and like everyone was like taking a knee. I don't know if y'all witnessed that. I don't know if that was the best way of doing it, but I'm like, I don't know. It don't seem authentic. It just seemed like.
What were they doing?
That was the Democrats, so the congressional Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I seen that, sorry. And I don't know who planned or who decided to do that. I'm not against it. I just don't know if it was all the way authentic. Like, I just feel like it was just like, hey, we're gonna put some African souls on and take a knee, so it showed that we are da 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 da. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it.
I feel like it probably is authentic, but of course they wouldn't understand quite as much as you would understand, because you actually have been through it versus them only seeing it. So they only can believe what has been said, throughout the media. They haven't really experienced it, so they can't feel it the same way that you would.
Yeah, and I agree, but I just feel some type of way. I was like, yo, why does it take a man have to get his knee on his neck and dying and to be recorded for you to try to understand what we go through on a day-to-day basis?
Right.
I get
that
too.
And so I have a question. So what they did, would that ever be okay, or is it more of like a gradual thing that they should have done, or is it just like right now at the moment it's just too much?
See, that's the thing. I only can speak for myself, and I can't speak for everyone else's opinion. But I just feel like it's not too much, but at the same time, it's like, all right, you're doing this because of what's really going on. But if this never happened, you would not even think about doing nothing like this.
What? You're almost patronizing. Like, that's almost. It's like you just showing.
So if let's just say it's like the whole let's just say like George Floyd didn't die and they did do that, how would you feel?
They wouldn't.
If they did do it and George Floyd didn't die and they just did it on their own and try to do that, I'd be like, okay.
If it's in significance of something, like for me, sorry, Taj, maybe Black History Month, or maybe a significant Black date, or the day that Africans were free, like Juneteenth. Like maybe that's if they did that to celebrate Juneteenth with George Floyd not dying, I'd be like, okay, I kind of like where you're going with that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So short of people dying to have to.
The Congressional Black Caucus did like sign off on that. So it was black folks that said that's okay.
They signed off on it. Okay, cool. I didn't know. I mean, I just witnessed this and seen it, and I was like,
And it still was some excessive and patronizing stuff.
Right.
The Congressional Black Caucus did sign off on that. So
yeah. Let's say, short of people actually dying to show some type of change, me personally, I'm actually 100% down, I guess, for everything that's been going on as of late. Because the same guy that I was talking about earlier that I saw, that I was watching stream, he brought up a good point that I think the current, everything that's currently going on is probably good for it in the long run, because what he brought up is he was speaking more so to white America in his stream, and he was saying, for you individuals who grew up in a white household with white parents in a predominantly white neighborhood and went to a predominantly white school where you didn't have a lot of exposure to African Americans, everything that you possibly know about the current everything that's currently going on has either been from textbook or what you've heard through the grapevine. So you probably don't know a lot of what's going on and a lot of the rage and the response that everybody's getting from like I said, the happenings of the current protest. So because of that, he was saying he took a moment out to kind of explain everything that was going on and why it's going on. And he said more so he wanted to really speak to the younger white individuals, because those are the ones that he feels as if really don't understand what's going on. And like I said, I love the fact of what's currently going on. I feel like if you're a younger, is exactly who he was speaking to, the younger white individuals who are, like I said, grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood after probably the year 2000, and they don't have a lot of exposure to black people, and they probably hadn't even seen any type of racism other than the one that they probably exposed to in their household. And they probably, even with that, they probably didn't really understand that was really racist, because if you don't know black people and you don't really hang around with black people and shit that's happening around you is racist, you probably don't really recognize it as being racist, because you don't know what comes across as insensitive to another culture if you're not really around that other culture. It may just come across as a joke to you. So I do like I said, what's currently going on, because now it takes that younger generation of white individuals and if you are around the right role models, it takes what's going on right now and the right role models in your life to say, hey, this is what's going on right now. This is why you need to pay attention. And this is why you need to come out of this being a better person. Because if this isn't going on right now, right in your face, who's going to sit their kid down, or who's going to sit their brother down or their sister down and explain this type of shit to them if they've never been exposed to this?
And I feel like if
I concur.
Those black kids that grow up in a predominantly white neighborhood or a predominantly white school or whatnot, they, like you said, they might not notice racism going on in front of them, because they're not sure what racism is, because that's how they was raised. But I just feel like there's something in the black soul, or you know what I'm saying, in the soul that's you will start feeling some type of way, or you might second guess like, hey, you know, so even if you haven't been around, I feel like you still will kind of like think to yourself like, was that right? You know what I'm saying? They might not say it, but I feel like it still will just come to them eventually. That's just me. I just feel like.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie though. When I lived in Colorado, I don't feel like I ever experienced racism. But I don't, like I said, every place is different. I think like a lot of racism is, you can see it more in the South, I think, from what I hear. But I don't know how true that is. But
oh no, because I've seen a lot of racist shit on media recently in New Jersey, and that's considered the norm.
Yeah.
Can I ask everybody a question on here? What is the moment that sorry to I'll go off track, Najee, but have there ever been a moment in your life that you've been called out your name, a racist name?
I'm glad you said this.
And how did you feel
in person? No.
In any type of situation, on a phone, in person, and this
not
is
on
for
the phone
everybody.
either.
I think we brought this up on an earlier podcast, and I didn't really want to bring this up again because I feel like we talked about on an earlier podcast. Matter of fact, I know we did, but since you brought it up, I do think that was a good question.
Are you asking like your first experience with racism?
No, not necessarily with racism,
like
but
being called something
insensitive to your race.
Sensitive to your race.
So I will go first since I have a perfect story for it.
Give me go ahead.
What's up?
So
I was gonna say give me an example, but I think I'll find out what Najee says.
I'm thinking of an example. So I'm painting the landscape for you, and this kind of hits home. This kind of touches on a couple of different topics or subjects. So when I was very young, I want to say around 4 or 5, probably 3 or 4 years old. I'm gonna say I was about 4 or 5. I stayed in an apartment complex. And of course, me being a kid of that age, I'm playing with all the rest of the kids that's in the apartment complex. So there was a white kid that stayed on the opposite end of the building in front of me. So of course, us being around the same age, I think he was like a year younger than me. We used to play all the time, this, that, and the third. So one afternoon when I came home, I was playing over their house, playing video games or whatever, came back home. And me being a kid of that age and not knowing any better and not knowing anything really, I just come home and I just start talking. And I happened to say to my parents, hey, let's just call him Tim, the kid that I was playing with, I don't remember his name. Hey, Tim called me a bad word. And at that time, a bad word could have been anything like shut up or anything. Like it could have, to me, because I don't know what a real bad word is at that point. And they was like, okay, they kind of brushed it off like, what did he call you? And I said the N-word. And when I said the N-word, when I told them what the word was, them being a white household and their young child who's younger than me using that word, my parents automatically a trigger goes off in their head is he can't go over there anymore because where did the little boy learn that word from? If you're you're 3, 4 years old and you know that word, there's a reason why you know that word. So,
and it's used probably multiple times for them to stick in his head.
So at that point, my parents told me I can't go over there no more, this and the third. And me being a kid of that age, I don't understand why I can't go over there no more. So I'm sad and I'm upset because they tell me I can't go play with my friend anymore. And I'm like, I'm just outraged and crying, And of course, my parents being Black parents, they confronted that child's parents about it as well. And of course, they're like, they don't know. They have no idea where he learned that word from. They've never used that word, But, like I said, that was my first time being exposed to it. That was my first time being exposed to like racism in any kind. And like I said, at a very, very young age. And like I said, at that point in time in my life, of course, I don't know what the hell happened because I'm like, what did I do wrong? Why can't I play with him anymore? Like, did I do something wrong? But like I said, I don't know no better at that point in time.
Yeah. And I don't know. Did that help as an example for you?
Yeah, that was wild. Yes, that helped.
Okay, and I'll go next. I was older when this happened to me, and I'm pretty sure I experienced some other things, but nothing really kind of like got me to the point where I was like, wow. But I'm gonna paint a picture for you. I was in college, and I was working at a call center at CGI. I had to answer phone calls and stuff like that. And I'm the type of person, you know what I'm saying, words don't really hurt me, you know what I'm saying, unless you saying it to my face or, you know what I'm saying, or like it's somebody that I truly love or something that only really can hurt me with their words. But I was getting calls like every day I was getting different calls, trying to collect debt from these people that need to give me their money. But it was just one phone call that I cannot forget. And I got on the phone and I'm on the phone and he was just like, I was like, hey, I said the little dialogue we had to say, you know what I'm saying, speaking. He was like, shut up, you nigga. You know what I'm saying? He called me the N-word. He's like, shut up, you N. And I was like, excuse me, sir, you don't have to use that type of language with me. You know, so I still had to be professional. But then he started going to like, oh, you're an uneducated, da-da-da-da. He started, trying to just belittle me on the phone. And it's like, usually stuff like that don't really get to me, but me just having to be quiet and having to have him to say it to me because I'm at work, you know what I'm saying? that kind of like made me feel some type of way. And I was so angry and furious, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I couldn't lash out because of not wanting to lose my job. But at the same time, that ate me. Like I ain't never had that really affect me in my life, because I have heard the word before and all stuff like that. But for him to kind of say, and I can't react to it or call him out on it, that killed me. That killed me. And I still remember to this day, word for word.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, I don't think like no one has ever said it to me like straight up, not that I recall anyway, because I probably been fighting if they did, I think.
That's what I'm saying. He using the monkey, all that. Like I was
but like on Xbox, when like me and G and all them used to play Call of Duty real heavy back in the day.
Oh yeah,
that's
all the time.
Like once they find out how we sound, they'll start using the N-word and all type of stuff. But they're gonna say it because they're not in our presence, but they get real racist on the video games. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's supposed to be a community to bring people together, you know, just on one common thing. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily on some racism or something. And that's crazy. It's in every platform kind of.
Yeah.
Just report them, or you just give them that work.
Just keep killing him. Just keep killing him. Whatever. How y'all doing?
I don't think I've had anybody really say like anything racist directly to me. I think I've had people call me boy, and that's one of those like subtle racist comments.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of showing ownership over somebody.
Yeah.
Or like I'm smarter than you, all of that. So I've had boy, I think, a couple times in life. Nothing that I can just directly remember to. So other than that, I don't think I've directly experienced racial comments. Let me say it that way. So
what about you, Mr. Object? I know you told me about a racist thing that happened to you, but
yeah, that's the only thing I can remember, honestly. And I'm pretty sure. What's up?
Nah, never mind. I don't even want to do it. I ain't gonna lie. Never mind. God want to be insensitive, but it was funny when he told me.
How is it funny?
The one in California.
Yeah, the one in California. Yeah, so like again, like I guess like throughout school, and this happened like I think post college. It's like birthday weekend, right? And it's like just like even in California, like I was just like because they're so progressive there, I just thought like I just never expected it, and so basically like me and my friend were walking, we were gonna get some burgers from In-N-Out, and it was like super close to the hotel, so we just took a walk, and there was like the In-N-Out was next to a gas station, and we got our burgers. We were like going back to the hotel, and some dude, like this white dude, just pulls up to us, like rolls down the window, and my friend thought he was asking for directions. And like first he asked like where the gas station was. And we were just like, dude, it's like right in front of you, just pull up.
Right.
But then he followed up with like racial slurs, and I was just like really confused because I was just like, what was that? Was he just mad? And then my friend was like, dude, I think that was racism. And that was my first, because like I was like, I just never experienced it that full on, like even in school and whatnot. So I was just like, wow, this is just, I was just like, what the heck was this?
Yeah.
So it didn't like sink in until we like got back to the hotel, and I was like, I was laughing the like entire way. I was like, wow, that was just really stupid, because it was like it was just like out
stupid.
of nowhere.
Was he saying like was he saying like names that was really like offensive?
No, I think it was just like more like stereotypical stuff. Like I guess like Indian people have like gas stations and stuff, and like it was just like something like that angle. But it was just like he could have said something more vulgar and that could have hit home. But for me to like stand there confused, trying to figure out what the heck was going on, I was like, this is just a waste of time. Yeah, I was just like, this is just stupid.
Yeah.
So that was my experience. But I'm pretty sure like I've had stuff in school where I just don't remember, that hasn't been like that concentrated. But that experience was like my first and only time, honestly, and it was very confusing.
Yeah, and I don't know, like it's stupid, really. Because like I said, it's at least from what I have experienced and what I've consumed from like TV and social media and all that stuff, it's like the people who openly and outwardly display racist actions or comments and stuff like that. Like it's completely out of nowhere. Like it's like just something to do, and it's for no reason.
Also, like I wouldn't know how to react. Like, like in that situation in a public area without like, if it was just me, right? And if it was like someone like rolled down a car, like I just would not know how to react. Just take it and they drive away or something, or like how would you guys react to something like that?
And that's crazy. And honestly, I'm the same way. I want to know how to react. I think if it happens to me, I guess react how I react at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I guess however I feel at that moment. Honestly, I can't say I wouldn't put my hands on them, or I can't say I would. I would.
It's crazy.
It's a scary
like
situation though, man. Because like, what if they're just like picking a fight just to do something really bad to you? You know?
That shit's true. They're baiting you. You know?
Right. Exactly. And you put your hands first, and they're just defending themselves now.
Yeah, I would never put my hands on somebody first. You know what I'm saying? But because I feel like I got lethal hands. But
Julio.
You know what I'm saying? But I'll let it be known how I feel.
You gotta keep in mind too.
Why you over here lying on this podcast?
Bro,
Tosh told me he used to cover Julio in high school, so
all day.
Oh yeah, it's good hands, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, what you were saying, G?
You gotta keep in mind too, like let's just go with the scenario that obviously just painted. Somebody of a Caucasian individual pulling up on you out of nowhere, out of completely nowhere to harass you and racially slur you. And at the moment as a black male, you put your hands on them, I guarantee that you see consequence more before they do.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've been physically. It all depends what they're going to call as self-defense or what is assault.
Yeah.
So it's a hard case to prove.
I won't pull up on
even on top of that, it's going to be 1,000 times worse because you're black and they're white.
Yeah.
So. I mean, like I said, it's just the reality that
don't worry about it. I get his plates. He'll see me again.
Trying to mosey on along through these topics that we're not going to hit all of. How do you think that the current racial tensions and once again using the word landscape is going to affect this coming November elections?
I heard they've been affecting the polls. Like I heard
Donald Trump has been plummeting in the polls.
But I heard things been going on like long lines. People having to wait 3 hours just to vote three poll
voter suppression.
Yeah, voter suppression. Thank you, Taryn.
Yeah, and it's truly a real thing. I can't stress that enough. Voter suppression is real. They will do, especially like you got to keep in mind. You're controlling with your voice and your vote, you're controlling potentially an individual's power over an entire country. So of course, if a dictator-like president is already in office, he's going to try to do whatever he can. And someone who's already been alleged to have fixed an election already, go do whatever he can to try to stay in office. So
I will go crazy if he wins a second term. Like
I feel like it's dead. I feel like there's no way because right now he's kind of creating the biggest divide that we have seen in a long time when he's supposed to be probably trying to mend it and make sure, we're one instead of but he's steadily doing stuff to make sure that he knows that we don't care and he's going to voice his opinion on the situation.
Honestly, Taryn, I didn't even think he would win this time and he did. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, when you say a bunch of bull crap and you just keep saying it, you just talking, pretty much just talking. He didn't even think he's gonna win, but you just do so much talking and tweet whatever you feel like saying. People are like, okay. I like what he's saying. I'm gonna vote for him because he was real.
So Kanye got a chance.
I don't know. Be 1,000 with you. I don't know because Donald Trump won the election. I have no idea. Anybody can win that bitch, bro. I promise.
That's what I'm saying. Like, while we grew up, like, it's hard to be a president. And
anybody can win that shit.
I guess in Donald Trump won. In a sense, the only reason why he won it because of who the Democratic candidate was because all that stuff that she or they whoever did has came out was coming out at the time.
Yeah. I also think it was a direct response. It could have been somewhat of a direct response to Barack Obama. I know he had 2 terms, but I still think it kind of pissed some older white people and some non.
Oh, we're not gonna have
Well,
this again.
Take
exactly.
take the
Apparently,
kinda
a
out of that
lot
statement.
of white folks voted for him.
Yeah,
But this is
you
the
know,
thing though.
like we're not enough of a population to like.
To affect
White
change like
people are
that.
60 to 7% of the population. We don't have enough population to solely carry somebody into office.
And a lot of them, they
Have-
hate women of power.
Mhm.
A lot of them
Right.
white folks.
Right.
That's probably
Right.
why she didn't. Hillary
Yeah.
didn't win because
But I put it to
they
you-
were like, I'd rather have him in than a female in power. Like,
Yeah.
and that's crazy how this
Yeah.
world is.
And also he was coming in as like he's coming in as a businessman rather a political figure. Like it was people giving him like the opportunity of, oh, maybe he can do something
Yeah,
versus something.
he kinda
They wanted
That's
something different.
That's what a lot of people excuse was.
Yeah.
But I put it to you this way: if Barack or would have done what they say Hillary has done, he'd have been under the jail.
I would say if Barack had done what Trump has done in office,
Trump has done.
like in his first 4 years, it wouldn't even be a consideration of him being reelected.
Would have been definitely impeached.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It never happened. Yeah.
I will say to kind of follow up on what Terrence just said. 2 things that's like sorely sticking him in the foot to win another term is the fact how he has also very poorly handled the COVID-19 crisis that's still going on. Because if you follow social media or just go outside,
What?
you would think
It's still going on.
Listen,
He said it was ashes.
Coronavirus is real. My homeboy just got it.
you would
Put it like
think
that.
that shit was cured.
My homeboy
Don
just got it.
Don said it was down to ashes, man. Y'all, you gotta be kidding me. There's Corona still going
Yeah.
on?
Taj, is he asymptomatic?
I'm not sure. He said he wasn't really getting any symptoms. He just woke up one day and his back was hurting. So and then he was
got tested.
and he got tested. Then he said he came out
Oh.
back positive. He wasn't.
There's- I don't know.
He went and got a test because his back was hurting.
Yeah,
It must be like a crazy pain or something.
I guess a pain he ain't ever felt.
Well, I would say this. The first case of the coronavirus was
Are we talking official,
Last year, right?
non-official numbers there?
Are you talking about like when they first found out about it?
Yeah, because
Was that
I think
February?
no. I think like
No,
he got
I'm-
there were some
United
reports
States.
saying that it was in like late November December
November.
of last
Yeah,
year.
they told
Yeah.
Trump
Oh,
about it in
okay.
November. And
No,
he-
like they were saying that there were a couple first cases like here, but like people,
Yeah.
like they weren't tested. Is what I'm saying.
Mm.
But like what the news narrative is like what they say is like it's January or February.
Yeah, I think from what I'm seeing on this, it's like March the 5th, or late February, sometime early March was the first case.
Yeah.
The millionth U.S. case was April 28th, so a month and a half later.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We hit our 2 millionth case here in June, some
So,
month
a
and
month
2 weeks
in a
later.
week, yeah.
Yeah, a month and a week later. So it ain't slowing down. Like we hadn't stopped it or slowed it down in any capacity. So it's concerning. And I think some states, Texas, North Carolina, Florida, they're increasing. And I think some of those states may eventually look at possibly shutting back down. So
I'm pretty sure Alabama probably increasing pretty high too,
Alabama's increasing as well. Yep.
Yeah, and like I
especially
said,
Montgomery County.
Birmingham and Mobile are the 2 worst.
Birmingham up there now?
Yeah, Birmingham and Mobile were by far the 2 worst
No,
counties.
Huntsville, Madison County the best. They got they doing it right up there, whatever they doing.
But yeah, like I said, his very, very poor handling of this pandemic and the fact that allegedly the Trump administration were informed about this in November of last year, and they waited until March to do anything about it is very concerning. And then also the mishandling of this national crisis with what's seeming to be a second civil rights movement. It seemed like I just cannot see how he will get reelected after just the fumbling of both of these things back to back. almost
I
as
said,
if
the
he
only
didn't
way
care.
don't go ahead.
Oh no, you got it.
I said the only way he would get reelected if the Democratic candidate messes up significantly from between now and then.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm glad you did too.
I have two things. So, the current Democratic candidate, like from what I've seen so far recently, cannot finish the sentences, and it is really concerning for me to like vote for someone who's like not, health wise up to par at least. Like I was reading a couple things. I was watching a couple things too. Like the Democrats are counting on mail-in votes, so they can get like these younger like crowds to just mail their votes in. They're betting on younger people who are like lazy to go to the polls. Voting.
Mail it.
I don't know what it is. But they're expecting them to vote by mail, and because of that, I think they're trying to sway the election. Just because Biden can't finish his sentence, like he's just stuttering mid speeches, which is just terrible.
Well, what speeches ain't hot either.
That's true. That's true. So
right.
man,
The bar is low. The bar is low.
No, it sucks, man.
I will say it is disappointing that we don't have better candidates from both parties.
Right.
Like they're making George Bush and Al Gore and all of those before him look like perfect candidates,
top notch,
like,
top tier.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's been pretty bad that the candidates that we've thrown out there, we being America, the last 4 years between Trump, Clinton, Biden.
I know who needs to run.
It came out recently that some of the older or the previous generation Republican candidates are not supporting Trump this time around, like the George Bush.
Good.
So.
He probably did some shady stuff to him. But go ahead.
A lot of people with this Black Lives Matter movement are starting to see that, hey, Trump is obviously opposed to Colin Kaepernick, kneeling for the flag, Black Lives Matter, everything that Black people are trumpeting. And I hope that convinces, non-Black people to consider voting not against, voting for the Democratic ticket.
And also he losing more supporters because of how he keep disrespecting all these generals.
Yeah, he don't give a dang about your previous rank.
And did y'all see? I didn't know that. Speaking of Colin Kaepernick, that you said that a soldier told him he should kneel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
because he was sitting down
previously. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, and the soldier was white at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and he was a very decorated soldier because he was
exactly.
like Green Beret or something like that.
So I'm saying, like if he got the okay from him that this is not offensive or anything, like.
Yeah, he said kneel because it's more respectful.
Yeah, and that's what Seth was speaking on last podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, and the crazy thing about it is too, like when you look at the two different parties, it just seemed like I really hate how on the Democratic side there's more of a choice, I guess you could say, and that's kind of a difficult thing to say, but it's more of a landscape to choose from on the Democratic side than there is on the Republican side. On the Republican side, there are just clear cut. You need to vote for this individual. Whereas on the Democratic side, it's more of a landscape. So if you're spreading your votes across different parties or across different politicians, it's kind of making your vote not count as much as if on the Republican side they're just clear cut voting for these one individuals.
But I mean, once it's all said and done, it'll be 1-1.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
but kind of, I guess, staying on somewhat of the political topic, I did want to talk about. So I saw an article, or it may have just been a post on social media the other day, basically bringing up the proposal of reparations for slavery for African Americans, and I wanted to get everybody's kind of opinions or take on reparations. Me personally, I don't. So reparations itself, I don't think, I guess, is a bad thing. If you want to pay for how our ancestors were treated and just dehumanized. There we go. Dehumanized. Then sure, go for it. But I don't really think that it's a conversation to have right now, because I feel like if you're talking about paying us reparations for slavery right now, it's almost can get misconstrued and kind of go along the topic of, all right, we're going to pay you off for all the racism that we've been doing to you, so you
can be quiet.
Yeah, so you shut up, and then we just go on and move past this.
Like, hush money.
I don't like
hush
that.
money.
I don't like that.
Basically.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
So I don't really think this is the time to really be talking about reparations. That's something that we can talk about after all this is over, but don't talk about it right now, because that's exactly what you said. It's like hush money.
Money can't buy the blood, sweat, and pain that we had, our ancestors had. Money can't.
You can't. They're trying to like assign a value to how much hurt has been done, which is just like
you can't.
That's
which is true.
Confusing to understand.
Like one of the things that I think about, and I think I may have said this on the podcast. It feels like I'm about to repeat myself. But like one of the things I wonder is like, if there was not slavery and lynching and mass murdering of slaves and civil rights things of that nature, if the life expectancy of an average was a white person and they're having the children was the same amongst black people, what would the black population look like in America today?
A whole lot more.
A whole lot more. I think we'd be more.
I would assume more.
And then it would be like interracial relationships and stuff too.
I wonder what the black population would look like if for 400 years we were allowed to just live our lives. Like, you know, mind you, when they got here,
I guess they had to control it.
Slavery. But
right.
I would love to see, like, if you stop slavery at 50 years, hell, 100 years, what would it look like if you just allowed black people to live, and what would their population look like?
That's true. But there was a lot of events that probably shouldn't have happened that happened back then too.
There's
a holiday, you know, that we celebrate, you know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's another subject for another day.
Wait, what? You can't. I didn't get a word of what Terrence said, man.
It's not. It doesn't matter.
Oh, you talking about Columbus Day?
Yes, we'll talk about that later.
But kind of piggyback on what just said, there is a conspiracy theory. I don't even know if this is just I don't know if this has been actually in research, but I know it's a conspiracy theory that a lot of the so-called racism and a lot of it has been stemming from as of late. If racial tension seems to have gotten like higher lately, the conspiracy theory has been that the white population, the white population as a whole is in danger of being extinct because of interracial relationships, because of black and white relationships, Asian and white relationships, people growing and becoming more diverse and hanging around more diverse crowds and actually becoming, I guess, more intertwined, and racism kind of dying off. There's a concern that eventually that will, at least in America anyway, I don't know if globally, but in America, that will kind of on down the line, generation after generation, that will kind of lead to there not really being a quote unquote white person anymore.
I don't believe it.
I think the estimation is by 2050, they will not be the majority anymore. Like there will be more non-whites than there are whites.
Right.
Wow. We'll be like mixed.
Yeah, mixed.
They'll still be the most populous population, but if you consider that right now they're 65% of the population, if you will, they will be below the 50% mark. So there will be more others than it will be just whites.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's like the conspiracy theory. That's where a lot of like recent outrage of racism is coming from, to try to stop or kind of put a halt on that from happening.
But that ain't gonna. I mean, it can stop some, but it ain't gonna stop many.
Stupid.
You like what you like.
Right. And like I said, I may be, I don't know, gullible or whatever you want to call it, but I do think that eventually racism will kind of die off, just because if we continue to have these conversations and continue to become more and more as human beings, that we become more and more diverse and intertwined with more cultures, I think that it will eventually come to a point, but I don't know. Who knows?
I doubt it.
You might be on Mars by then, bro.
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay, so here,
These people hate you before they even meet you.
They hate us because they ain't us.
All right, what's up?
I can't with Josh, man. What was I gonna say? What was the last thing you said, Seth?
2050 might be on Mars. White people.
Yeah, no. So it's the whole Mars thing, right? This is this is like, just like totally hypothetical, right? So if we were to send, and so what, like, not, this is a response to Najee's comment about racism. If we were to send people to Mars, like today, we would send the most healthiest, like the best of the best human beings on there, right? No matter the race, no matter what, like just the best human beings. And which.
Go ahead.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah. So, and we'd send an amount where, like, everyone, like, they could populate an entire species, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over time, like, since these are the best human beings, like, technically they'd be the second gen human beings, right? They wouldn't have the problems that people on Earth would have. They'd, like, get these diseases out of the way. They'd just be like a lot better, like a species, essentially.
We're assuming that we're inhabiting Mars, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
At that point, I mean, it's like clear as day, right? Like, why would like that generation of humans associate with a previous generation of humans?
That's almost like
that was just my response. That's just my response to Najee's comment on like racism will like dissipate, but.
It ain't like going back home to the hometown you were from. You gotta go back to your home planet. That's a completely different trip.
That's a nice little ride.
Years.
But
some space shuttle.
But the kind of speed that's on along, that we're not completely gonna get to every topic, but I do really want to touch on one topic before we call it close.
What's that, Mr. Jones?
So I had a thought about racism in like the medical field, and more so, my thought came from, let's say if you were an individual who, whatever happened, you happened to have an injury, you happen to have some type of life-threatening disease or whatever the case may be, and you need surgery. I was thinking about racism on the medical side in the sense of like the person who's operating you, whose your life is literally in their hands, and they happen to hate you for the color of your skin. How do you guys?
That's a scary.
Right. How you guys feel about that angle?
So I would take a stance that.
Because I think that's more scary than the police officer.
But you don't have that much control.
Right.
Like you're at a very vulnerable like place and time.
I would go back to the stance that I've said I think a couple weeks ago. There's been no system that has been unaffected by racism in this country. So I think there's been tests to prove that racism is in the medical field. I don't know if it looks like letting somebody die on the operating table, like Martin Luther King did. But yeah, that's intense. Like letting somebody die on the operating table because you don't want to perform surgery. You intentionally.
Jail time, probably.
I would hope. I would hope somebody in that room will speak up or jump in, or if they notice something like that.
Yeah,
I
did see a post recently where a medical professional was telling that like black women are more likely to have complications from childbirth and more likely to have deaths from childbirth than white women are, and that you got to start. Unfortunately, it's your responsibility to start taking a stand for yourself. Like I think black women are even more likely to have like C-sections and stuff like that as opposed to natural births. not because of any like structural differences or anything like that, just purely based off C-sections are easier and quicker to have than natural births, so doctors want to go home.
Yeah, so kind of once again piggyback on what Seth said, I saw a post that somebody reposted on Instagram, but it was a Twitter post that this girl, I wish I would have known that this day was going to come. I would actually screenshot it, but this girl, she was basically being an advocate for her friend who passed away in childbirth, and it's funny because her friend was active on Twitter, and she was talking about exactly this. She was talking about racism in the medical field and how she had concerns about just how her experience being pregnant and dealing with the hospital had been going. And she felt as if it was entirely solely based off of her skin color. And she was like, once she finished, having her kid, she's going to try to do something to try to bring light to this, because she had just been dealing with a lot of racism in the whole process of going through her pregnancy. And sure enough, when she gave birth, she ended up dying on the operating table. And she had just wrote this long post basically talking about how she was concerned about giving birth because she felt as if she was dealing with racism and this and the third. And then it ended up, she ended up passing from it. Now her friend had basically consolidated all those tweets and all that stuff that she had been talking about that one hospital, and she was using her platform to basically post everything because she felt as if her friend died giving birth because of racism.
The friend that's standing up for her, is she white or black?
Black.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that may have been where my original thought for this whole topic came from, because
So why do you ask that question?
Just for context, I think
Okay.
I wanted to see, was it a white person, like a white friend, who was championing this? Because I feel like it means
more kind of, yeah.
What a white person.
It's potential to see a wider audience.
Yeah, it's coming from a different perspective.
Okay.
Because when black people say race, they're like, oh, like something, there's some racial issues, like, oh, you're just race baiting, push it to the side. But I think when a white person brings it to the light, it holds a different value, especially in white people's eyes. White people's eyes. So that's why.
Yeah.
Probably triggers them a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know like hospitals just they treat people different just on their socioeconomic classes. Like you could see that based like any hospital, right? Any like public hospital. If you go in, it's like packed with people versus like better hospitals. That's just like the socioeconomic standpoint. But I mean, if they're doing that, like what's it to say they aren't being racist?
Right.
You can see that in some respects in the early stages of COVID, like how NBA players were getting tested much quicker than, much easier before testing was even mass, as
they got tests brought to
as it is now.
Right.
You had full teams and staffs that were getting tested, and
right.
Yeah. So you got money. Like, unfortunately, money is one of those things that allows you to have more access to
certain benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's crazy though, because like I said, when you just think about, people probably don't think about stuff like that, like racism in the medical field and stuff like that. And it's just the reality of it is racism can exist in any facet of your life, any profession, anything. It's just, and the scary part about it is a lot of the times you don't know, because the more bold racists, I guess you say, they'll be open with it, but the more dangerous ones in my eyes are the ones who are secretive about it, and you don't know, and they'll smile and laugh in your face, but really be against you.
Is it just me, or do y'all do this? Have y'all been doing this lately? Lately, I've been kind of, a lot of things I look at it sideways, or I look at it twice, like, was that racist? I kind of like really,
like what?
Like TV shows, emails, everything that like occurs in my life. I kind of look at them like, I don't know, what kind of angle was this person trying to go at? Like, you trying to abuse their power of like white and black, or what I'm saying? I kind of look at different things, like, or if I see somebody making a speech on social media, I'm like, were they sincere? You know what I'm saying? It kind of makes me kind of like this, kind of really double back and look at things, look at everything that run across my plate. Honestly, I don't know if that's just me, but
man, I don't just because I try my best to like give people the benefit of the doubt. I really don't want to make everything about like black and white. So I kind of try to look at stuff with an open eye, unless it was just blatantly racist, and then I mean you can't really ignore those.
Yeah, I haven't had that issue either, but I try to exactly what Najee said. Ignorance is bliss, so I would give them the benefit of the doubt. But if it's something that's just like it can't be ignored, then it's probably yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. I don't know if anybody else wanted to speak on that.
I'm Najee. Go ahead.
So I mean, like I said, with that, I guess we can try to end it a little bit closer to being on time this week. So before we go, we can do our artists versus artists this week. It'll be quick. I guess it's my week this week. So if you don't know, it's just a recurring segment we do where we just do a little light debate on two different entities to give our opinion on both and try to figure out if there is a right or wrong and try to figure out which one we prefer over the other. Since I did not prepare one this week, because I in all honesty, I didn't think we were going to be able to get to it.
Unprepared.
I didn't think we were going to be able to get to it. Let me see. Well, let me open the floor. Does anybody else have one?
Why should we have to cover up your? No, I'm just messing.
No, in all honesty, like I said, I just didn't think
I got one. Who looked better, me or Taryn? No, that's fine.
with a bunch of dudes though.
Okay.
For the viewers.
That was easy.
These for the viewers. Let me take my glasses off.
like for Taj, retweet for Taryn.
We'll get a lot of exposure there. But anyway.
But no, like I said, we could probably end it a little early this week, or probably on time. I don't even know what the clock is looking like this week.
7:22.
Did you wear that shirt for Taryn today, Najee?
I was gonna say, when were you
the Phoenix Buns?
It kind of threw me off too. I was like, where did he come on the Phoenix Suns fan?
I've always been a Phoenix Suns fan.
Phoenix Suns since Steve Nash. I don't know why he roots for
Good God!
Switch team.
Yeah. Well, Taryn, what voice changer did you just speak in?
I don't know, man. You know, I'm out here in the hood. You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, Taryn's phone seemed to have held up just long enough for us to end the podcast, so I guess we'll cut it there. Yeah. What's going on? Oh, what's up?
Hold on, let me get this last part in. So this is what I talked about earlier. So this is going to be my challenge to you all, if you have white friends or anything like that, and also my challenge to we have a white audience in the group. So if you are truly an advocate for the momentum that's happening right now, the Black Lives Matter, or you feel like Black people actually should be alive and things, like we're truly going through a crisis. So I would say a couple things. It will not be a light switch. There's not going to be a flip of a light switch that moves us from racism to post-racism. It's not going to be an overnight cycle. It didn't happen overnight. It's just talking about 400 years worth of just in this country, slavery, civil rights, and where we are today. So it won't be quick. So I would say don't get tired, because it's a lot of work to be done. And that's from us as well. Like some people inherit assets, some people inherit houses, cars, some people inherit money. We are inheriting the problems that our forefathers left us. So it's our job to kind of fix those. I would say some of the things that you can do is frequent Black businesses. So I think one of the things we talk about in the Black community is like, what if we just went to the Black community? What if we bought Black? well, we don't have enough buying power to just by ourselves lift ourselves up. What if other races bought from the Black community as well? So that means go to Black restaurants, go to Black clothing stores, go to Black doctors, go to Black services, whether that be, if you own a business, get them, them as your contractors, your consultants. So frequent Black businesses. And don't just go buy from them once and be like, oh, I got the shirt, I rode the ride, that's it. No, like make it part of your habits, make it part. So go buy from these Black stores and spend some time there. Go get to know the owner just like you do in the white establishments as well. Like I know my buddy that he runs this shop, this golf club. Yeah, go know the Black spots just as well. I think that is a way of putting dollars into the Black community that could immediately be impactful. On another note, I will also say, and this is probably the biggest challenge I would say, send your kids to public school and support those public schools the same way that you support the private schools currently. So you pay thousands of dollars a year for your child to go to these private schools, which came about because of segregation, because you wanted to move, maybe not you, but your ancestors wanted to move the money away from, you wanted to segregate yourself away from the Black community. But you pay $5,000 a year, $10,000 a year for tuition at a private school. Take your kids out of the private schools, put them in public schools, and support those public schools the same way you do. So show up to the PTA meetings, show up to athletic events, show up to your child's parent-teacher meetings, and also give to those schools some of the money that you were giving away to the private school anyway. It's not a better education. It's just more funded. You're still paying for the public school anyway with your tax dollars. So if you can give in the same sense that you give to these private schools, you will see education completely change for all. And even for your child will probably be more enlightened to have more racial tolerance and more education in general about other people and how to deal with other people, as opposed to just putting them into these very controlled majority white spaces. So send your children to public schools. And I would lastly say, if you are truly about what's going on in America now, you don't feel bad if your Black friends don't necessarily directly want your help, or they get upset with you, or they're tired because now you want to just speak up. Like, I'm tired of being silent. Yeah, we get it, but like, we're also tired of how long it took for you to get here. So I will say those things. Make sure you go to frequent Black businesses, send your kids to public schools, and be okay with your help not being wanted, but still give it anyway if you're truly about change.
Once again, I urge, kind of segue off that, I urge, he may have done one recently since the whole COVID thing, but I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one where he was physically in the room with them. I urge people to go watch the Breakfast Club interview with Killer Mike. It is a very good Breakfast Club interview, and it speaks on everything that Sid just spoke on, especially the public school versus private school debate. That was that may be my favorite Breakfast Club interview.
I think that was when he was at the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, he was at the Breakfast Club.
Envy was going back and forth about it.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I think he may have done one recently where they were remote, so you see them just like you see us. But I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one where he's in the room with them. Yeah. Killer Mike. Very, very underrated just human being, I would say.
I agree.
So I will say I did think of an ours versus ours, but we don't have to do it if y'all trying to get out of here.
Depends on how difficult it is.
How good is it? Yeah.
I don't know how good it is, but I mean it's something. I was gonna say which one was better, the '90s brand of cartoons that came out of Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. So your Cat Dogs, your Hey Arnolds, your Dougs versus your Ed and Eddies, your Dexter's Laboratories, your Johnny Bravos, Samurai Jacks.
Nickelodeon.
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network.
Ooh.
Yeah. That Eddie was a classic, bro.
What's that shirt I always wear? Not Ren and Stimpy. What is it?
So, Aura Monsters? No.
No, the one it's funny too. When you go back and watch this cartoon nowadays, it's a completely different cartoon. It's
My Rocco's Modern Life.
Rocco's Modern Life. There we go. The mother worked in the sex hotline. Oh my god.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, I probably go with Cartoon Network too. I was glued with the Cartoon Network. But
Yeah,
I watched
Nickelodeon.
I watched Nickelodeon just the same, but I think I like Cartoon Network more.
Yeah, Cartoon Network had that what was it?
Tsunami.
Yeah.
Tsunami? Ooh, that thing was lit for about 2 hours, boy.
Gun the Wing.
If you include Toonami, then I don't think it's even close. I was trying to keep that away from it.
They was the only one showing Dragon Ball Z at one point.
Right.
So I don't even include it. But like I said, it was quick and easy. That was just something I thought of. But
mad everybody said Cartoon Network.
Nah.
He back there like that.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
But
I think he said everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I think
so too.
Yeah. I think that's what the robot said. But yeah, I appreciate that. Said that was really enlightening. Also, one thing to kind of shed light on it. Everybody remember, COVID is still a thing. It didn't go anywhere. Y'all be safe. Social distance. Wear your mask when you go out. Don't wash your hands. Do all of the stuff that the people have been preaching for the last month or two. Anybody else got anything they want to share with the people before we get out of here?
I just want to let everybody know that take time to yourself, collect your thoughts, be at peace with everything you do, and stay prayed up and make sure that you are, like Seth saying, supporting.
Cool beans. All right. Like I said, with that, I guess we are done this week. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening, however you decide to consume this media. What's going on, Taj? What you got for me?
Well, right now the sun is going down, and now the sun. How's the podcast though?
Yeah, I suppose it went fairly decent, but we'll holler at y'all on this one. Peace.